Okay guys, welcome back to another Learn to Code Roblox games. I've done 2 of these episodes. In the first episode we looked at the basics, so your variables, how we can store data or things in memory, and then we looked at functions, and today we're going to be looking at if-else statements. So let's just start with a new base plate, and what we want to do is just going to put a part on the workspace, and I'll just slow it down a little bit because this is a beginner's series, so these will be a little bit slower than my normal videos, but they will be packed with good information to help you learn how to code. So to start coding, we need to add a script. So under server script service, click the plus sign, and we're going to add a script. Okay, we've got a script here, and we can rename that if we like, main script. Okay, so we can see what we're doing. Okay, and it says print hello. So if we hit play, just a bit of a recap, it's going to print hello there in the output. Okay. So what I want to do today is look at if-else statements. So an if-else statement looks like this. If, just thinking true, I guess. If true, then, right, okay. So we've got the keyword if, and then there's a condition. So that condition can be like 1 plus 1 equals 2 or something like that. Okay, so you're testing for a condition, and then we're going to do something. Okay, right. We'll just start with the if statement, and then we'll look at the else. So there's if is say something's going to happen, else we're going to do something different. So if 1 equals 1 equals 2, then we're going to print, we'll say hello inside the if statement. Okay, and so remember whenever I said when we're coding, we want to print things out on the output, because that, before we get into a heap of code, we want to work out if this is actually working. So if we're actually getting inside our if statement. So hit play, and it says hello inside the if statement. Okay, so now that really doesn't make much sense. So we'll use our variables again, and we're going to add a new local variable, say a equals 1, and local b equals 2. I don't know really what I'm doing, but what do we want to do? So if a equals b, then we're going to print hello inside the if statement. So a is actually not equal to b, so this won't actually run. Okay, so let's just test that, and you can see we don't get anything. Okay, so if a was equal to b, so if they were both equal to 2, then this is now going to be true. Okay, and that means when this if statement is true, then it's going to do whatever we tell it to do inside the if statement. So if we play that, it's now true, so it printed that out. Okay, go back. All right, and like I wrote there before, you could also write true, but you're not really, and that's gonna work, right? That's really not very useful. Sometimes you do that with while loops and things like that, but we'll just stick on the if statement for now. So let's go back to what we had. If a equals b, right, we're going to do something. Okay, so what we're going to do, okay, that's right, let's do an else. So else, let's have a little drink. Okay, else, we're going to do something else. Okay, So print, straight away, let's just print something out. Else statement triggered, right? So that's just telling me that this condition was false, and we actually got to the else statement and it was triggered. And so that's actually true at the moment. So let's just test that. And you can see that the if statement actually fires, but the else statement didn't fire. It didn't show what we wrote in this else statement, okay? That's because this condition was true, so it only did this, and then it just stops, okay? And so if this condition is false, then it's only going to do the else statement, and it's not going to do the if statement. So say if a was equal to 1, then this is now going to be false, and therefore the else is going to print, okay? I'm actually inside that. Let's play that. Yeah, see, now it's going to print the else statement. Okay? Alright, so how can we actually use this in our programming? So what if our player like ran and touched this part or something like that? And we could use an if statement to say, okay, if the player touches the part, then then we can do this, whatever we want to do in there. We might change the color to red. Else, if they're not touching the part, we might do something else. Or we could even like kill the player or something if they touch the part, or not kill the player. Okay, so let's try and work out how we can do that then. So first thing we need to do is store this part in a variable. So remember in the last video we found our part, right? Let's call it my part, so we don't get confused. And it's going to be in the workspace, so that's game.workspace. And if we look over here, we've got part. Alright, so like if we called that, something else like, call it like kill brick or something, right? Alright, so here I need to refer to it. See how as soon as I put a K, it's found it, right? So we need to refer to it by its name. So that's what we're doing here. We're trying to find a specific name of an object on the workspace. And in this case, we're finding our kill brick. And that's all we want to do. We just want to store that part in this variable. And now once we've done that, like in the last video, now we can do something with this part. So like let's just leave our if statement as it is for now, and we can do something with this part. We can go my part dot color equals, we'll just change the color or something. Color 3. Color 3. Alright, so we want to, actually they're just numbers, aren't they? So remember, from the RGB, we need a red, a green, and a blue. So the 255, first one was red, so that's pretty much going to be red. So if this is true, it's now going to change the part color to red, and it's going to print our statement as well. Okay, so the else statement triggered, so that obviously wasn't true, so it didn't change it. So let's check what we did. So yeah, A was not true, so we'll just change that to 2 or something. Now it should be true, and we're inside the if statement, and we change the part color to red. Good. So now what we need to do is try and detect when the player kind of touches this part, and then we can trigger our if statement. Alright, so we don't know how to do that yet, do we? So best way we can find how to do that is, let's have a look. So we go to Google and we need to search for Roblox Dev touch part or something. Okay, base part touch, that'll do us. Humanoid touch, that was probably better. So this is our developer documentation for Roblox. Okay, so everything we need that we can do in Roblox has a reference in here that we can use. Okay, so this helps with our coding. So when we want to do something such as, in this case, we wanted to touch that part, then you're not always going to remember exactly what piece of code that does. So we need to use our reference to make sure we're doing it correctly. Okay, and we can see here we've got basically this touched event, right? So the touched event fires when a part comes in contact with another part. All right, and so in this case we want to detect if the player touches the part. So this is probably not, this probably is the right one, but we'll just go for this humanoid touched, and it's going to tell us a bit of code that's going to help us, right? Okay, so this one, humanoid. All right, so how can we do this? I think there's a different bit of code actually. Go back to that other base part one. This one looks a little bit more like what we want to do. Yeah, I want to just do this. Alright, so we've got a part. Let's do this. So what we're doing, right, we're going to use this bit of code here. This is a touch connect, right? So I'm just going to copy that. And we'll stick it down here. And our variable is called my part, right? And we need a function name here. So let's go local function. What are we going to do? We want to basically kill the player, or touch part. What can we call it? Kill player. Right. Okay, so we set up a function. I did that wrong. Okay. Right. Set up a function. And let's just print, see if we get there. Hello, that'll do. And yeah, so we touched that part, and it's going to call this function hopefully. So let's just see if that works. Let's just print it hello straight away. So there you go. So it is working. You can see. You can see that is doing something. It's printing out hello 53 times. So let's just have a look at our script. Okay, back in our script. So you notice there when we touched that part that it was triggering this hello 57 times, which is not what we want. We kind of just wanted to trigger that once each time we touch that part. And so to check for that in Roblox, there's a thing. So what I'm doing here is I've gone back to our Roblox developer, the API reference, and I'm just going to search for debounce. Okay, and so debounce is basically, here it is, a set of code that keeps a function from running too many times. Okay, so if you had this code, ideally what you want is just this, right? You just want it to print once, but instead what's happening is it's printing like 5 times each time you touch it. Okay, and we just want to print it once each time we touch it. So to do that, we need to add this thing called debounce, and what it really is, all it really is, hang on, let me find the right bit of code. This bit here is the best one. All it really is a variable that's set to false, and then we're checking to see if it's not set to false, and then we set it to true. So let's do that now, and then it will make more sense. So the variable actually needs to be outside this function. So I could put it just here, or I could kind of put it up the top here because I kind of want to keep my variables, like all my locals here, sort of at the top so we can see where they are clearly if we need to change them. So part touched equals false. So we set that to false, right? Just like they did here. Okay, and then we need this if not statement inside our function. So we'll just get rid of our hello. If not, and we had a different variable name, so we changed that. So we've got if not part touched, then it's going to do something. Okay, so we're using our if statement. All right, we've got this extra word here called not. So that just means if this is not true, right? So if not true, then it's going to do this. Okay. So and part touched is false. So that's not true. So at the moment, this is going to run. Okay, so I'm going to print. What can I print? Not true, I guess. Not touched yet. Not touched yet. Right, let's check what else we need to add to this. So now we've got to set it to true. Okay. So let's do that. So part touched equals true. So we changed it here straight away from false to true. And that's the bit that's going to stop it from keep triggering, right? Okay, so we need to add a wait. So they've got a wait here. And then they actually set it back to false. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to have a wait of say 2 seconds. And now we want to set that back to false. All right. So that should work now. So let's just give it a run. So in our script, it's loading, it's detecting that the base plate has touched the part, and that's what that is. Because we didn't really define what kind of part can touch this yet. We didn't say it can only be a humanoid part, we're just checking for any part that touches it. So that's maybe something we would have to fix in the future, but for this example, this will do us for now. So we can touch it. It's at 3 at the moment. See, it went to 4. Yeah, so that's working good. Went to 5, went to 6, and I can stand on it, and it's actually waiting for me to kind of move off it, which is probably good. So if this part was going to damage us, we would want to. Alright, that's fine, we can work with that. So let's have a look. Now we want to damage our player. So let's have a look at that. How can we damage our player? Well, let's go back to our thing. I think it's damage taken or something. Take damage, yeah. Alright. Humanoid take damage. So Roblox already has a function built in that allows you to just call this and enter in a value, which is how much damage the player is going to take. Okay, so game players, local player. Okay, so this stuff has to be in a local script, so we might have to move our script to a local script. Yeah, I think for now we can just move it to a local script. So yeah, so I'm going to copy the whole script, cut it from here. Well, actually, I'm going to leave it there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drag it down into player scripts. Okay, let's just run it and see if it works. Okay, it's still worked. It's actually it's not a local script. We actually need see how you've got a script and a local script. So we actually need this local script. Okay, so on the local script, I'm just going to paste that code, and we can just delete. Let's delete main script. Okay. We can leave it named local script just so we remember. Let's just play and see if it works. We haven't really changed anything yet. We just moved it to a local script, and it still works. No, our touched event didn't. Oh yeah, it did. Yeah, it did. I didn't think it worked, but it's coming up. Yeah, it's working. Okay. All right, good. So we can use that. So let's just grab that. Okay, so in here, we want to do something. It's going to take damage, just say 25. Let's see what that does. Go play. Oh, yes, it did work. So we lost a bit of health there, and again, and again, and we died. Okay, good. So that's working. Oh, we took damage straight away. Okay, so we need to change our function here so that we can detect if it is a humanoid part that is touching the other part. So we're just going to modify this a little bit. So I'm going to, instead of calling this function straight away, we're going to put another variable here called player part. We're going to connect, actually going to connect to a function player part like this. Okay, and so this is our player part, and this is the part that we're touching. And now we can call our kill player, and we'll send it the player and that part, player part. Okay, and it needs to have player and player part here. Oops. Let's call it the same. Okay, and then in here, so we've got our if not touched, right, and we've got our true, because we need to make sure we do this after we've turned it to true. Now we need another if statement to check if this part is a humanoid. So if player part dot parent, so like the parent of that part, find first child is a humanoid, then okay, so I'm going to explain this find first child, what a parent is, probably in a future video. For now, just this is just know that whenever you're kind of looking for an object, we use find first child to see if that object is there. That's basically what it is. But let's just keep going. So if our part is humanoid, then we can do that, I guess. Alright, just cross our fingers and see if this works. Hit play. Okay, and got it, did we? Yep. Okay, so not touched yet is probably not a very meaningful message there. We probably need to say something else, like not touched yet means part. Maybe we should just write part touched. Just so it makes a bit more sense. Okay, so we got no message yet. We touched the part and it took a long time to kill us. Not sure why. Anyway, it is working. That first one seemed to take a long time for it to actually kill us. It might have been doing this weight as well. Maybe we should put the weight up inside there. That's probably why. Yeah, damage it straight away that time, so that's good. Because of the wait 2 seconds, we probably should just change that to 1 second. Alright, so we took damage, we took damage, we took damage. Okay, good. Alright, so that's working perfectly, and it's not running now when we first play the game. It's waiting and using this check. Again, it's only going to damage the player if that part is an actual player. So that's good. We've got that working really good, and we're using our if statements, right? And what's happened here is we've actually got an if statement on the outside and an if statement which is kind of inside the other if statement. And that's called a nested if statement. So it means it's inside it, okay? I guess, yeah, this if statement's only going to run if the other if statement is true or not true, depending on what the condition was. Anyway, so you can do that. So what I want to do now is add a few more. Like we want to use, there's a thing called else if, okay, and an else. Else if, I'm going to call this damage 2. This can be damage 1. Else damage 3. Now it kind of wants to go underneath this other one, which is a bit weird. Let's just check. This might make more sense if we use another function. So just try to clean up our code and make sure we're writing things correctly. So if we just kind of just do another function, damage player or something. Okay, just gonna get rid of that for now. Alright, so if there was a thing, so I'm just going to move that up there, and inside here we're just going to call this function. Right, so it's going up there just so we know what's going on. Yeah, that's alright. We don't have to send it anything else at the moment. Just so our code looks a little bit better, clean that up like that. probably leave a gap between your if statements just so we can see them easily. Now in here, I want to have damage 1, right? Yeah, I want to go like, okay, I'm going to do 3 damages, 3 different damages, okay? So to do that, I'm going to do a random number. So let's get a random number. Random. That's kind of not what I wanted. I don't know, it's not that hard, I think. Local random num equals math dot random. Yeah, and then we just need 2 numbers. So what I probably should have searched for was math. And that'll give you all the things that you can do with that, and there'll be one for the random here. Yeah, math.random. Okay, so just to show you what I'm doing. So we needed 2 numbers here, I think. So between 1 and 3. Okay, and now we're going to say so if the random number equals 1, then I'm going to do this damage. Okay, else if random number equals 2, we're going to do different damage. Okay, didn't do it then. Okay. And now I can probably just use else. I could use an else if again, but I'm just going to use an else. And I'll explain this in a minute. Else it's probably going to be equal to 3, right? So we don't really need to test for it basically. So I'm just going to kill the player basically, 100. I think the player's got 100 health. So what's going to happen? Let's just separate these a little bit so we can see. So, okay, if statements. All right, so we've got if random number, and this is our condition, right? Conditional statement. And to check if it's equal to, we always have to use 2 equal signs. Okay, and the difference between this one and that one is here we are setting the variable equal to that number. Okay, so when we're setting it, we only need to use 1 equal sign. When we're checking a condition, we're checking to see if it equals a number, and that's why we use 2 equal signs. And if you type in conditional, and this is pretty much the same in any programming language, okay, they're called conditional statements. And in this programming language we're using Lua, right? And these are our operators. So like I said, double equals is equal to. That sign there is not equal to, and there you can see it, okay? You can check if it's greater than or less than, things like that. And like our example before, see? Okay, that's what we did before. Or you can use if 25 is greater than 100. Okay, and we've got to see the if else sort of how it's working there. Okay, let's go back to ours. All right, so ours is if random number equals 1, it's going to do this 25. Okay, else if random number equals 2, it's going to do 50. So if it does equal 2, it's not going to do 1, and it's not going to do this one. It's only going to do 2, and then it stops, right? It comes out of this if statement, right? This whole thing is a block. Only one of them will run. Okay, so if it equals 2, it's going to do this one. So basically the else will only fire if it's not equal to 1 and not equal to 2, right? Or if it was equal to 3 or something, then the else will fire. Okay? So let's test this out and see what damage we get. And remember, we're calling the function from here. And that goes up there. Okay, so we probably should print how much damage. That might help us know which one got fired, but there we go. We lost like half health there. Although it's saying we touched it 5 times, so I don't know about that. So we only lost once and died. Okay, kind of getting to the end of this video. Let's just print out the damage. Damage was 25. Damage was 50. Damage was 100. Damage was 25. Damage was 100. Okay, that's working well. Looks like its part touch is getting times by 4 again, so probably because okay, I see. Yep. So because we did this print statement before we set it to true, then we just got to make sure that we do all our stuff after we set that back to true. Otherwise we're going to get that problem where it's kind of firing it 5 times. Okay, that should work good now. Okay, so we touch the part and we got our part touch 11. I don't know why it's doing that then. Damage was 25, that worked great. 25 and 50 is 75. Alright, perfect. Yep, okay. Alright, so just a recap then on what we did. So this code up here is actually getting the player, and the proper way to actually do this would have been just to use humanoid, since we got them all up here. So we can just use our variable there. Instead of all that, it's print to check, play it to check. We got the damage 100, killed it straight away, so that still worked. That's good. What else can we clean up? So another way we could set up here is our damages, right? So like damage 1 equals 25, local damage 2 equals 50, local damage 3 equals 100. Like these values could be whatever you like to do in your game. But the point of putting them up here is when we're editing our code or making changes, we don't have to sort through the code to find like the things that we can change. We can just say, okay, here's my 3 values for damage, or I just need to change these numbers if I want to change them to something. Okay, so that's why I'm putting them up there. So now I'm just going to do that. Right, that way it's going to use the variable, and even here we can change. We'll just see if that works first. Yeah, damage was 25. It actually still worked, so that's good. So let's show you what to do here. So just get comma like that. Okay. That's 2. And then, oh well, wow. Okay, so there we go. That should work. We got the 100. Damage was 100, 100. What did we do wrong there? Probably, yep, that's right. Okay, so it's working good. Alright, damage was 100 again. Damage was 50. Alright, awesome. Damage was 100. Okay. Alright, okay, so we don't have, these are just random numbers. And like, you might not use random numbers, you might just use, like damage player, you might send a specific part up here that the player touched, and then you can have different damages for different parts, or something else, right? And then you just use that part here instead of the use it here, right? Instead of, yeah, you get the idea. Alright, so that's it for this video. We did quite a lot actually in this video. Not only did we do if statements, we did if, else, if and else if. And we did nested if statements, so if statements which are inside other if statements. We used a touched function. We used another function to kill our player. We checked if it was a humanoid part. We did a debounce. We did quite a lot in this video. What else did we do? We also learned how to use or learned about our Roblox Dev API area where we can get help, and you've seen how much help that provides you. Like basically what I'm trying to teach you is you don't always have to know what you're doing. You just need to know how to find the correct functions or the things that you can use to do something. So when you want to touch a part, you know, what's the code that allows us to touch a part or connect to the function, right? And then the take damage function, what do we need to do to take damage on a humanoid, right? Things like that, you know, find first child, you can search that reference and read about that, what it does and when to use it, and build your code from there. And like I said, always print stuff out. So now that we got our code working, that was kind of a test one. Now that we got our code working, we can probably remove our if statements. Okay, so you don't really need all these if statements in your program. They're really just there while you're setting your program up, so you can check that things are working and when you're testing. So have a go at this. I'll show you the script again in a second. So from the start, we've got basically all that. There's 49 lines. And that's it. See you in the next one. I hope you enjoyed this one. I tried not to cut too much out because that way you get to see the process of what I go through when I'm programming something, and use these resources like this reference when you get stuck, so that you can do things the right way, and that'll help you basically get yourself out of trouble and be able to write whatever you like. So all right, I'll see you in the next one, and bye for now.